it might be time to change the entire regime.
Well, Sal, I mean, if everything's not on the table at this point, what are we doing here? I mean, that was an absolute disgrace what the Giants did yesterday. I look at it this way. I actually have like 3 or 4 checkpoints written down when things go really wrong. Well, the first thing is, do you win? The answer is no. The second one is, do you really truly compete with like great identifiable vigor? No.
I mean,
the answer is no.
Absolutely not.
Do you appear to respect the authority of the franchise?
Nope.
And the answer is now clearly no. And do you now seem to respond to the messaging of the coaching? And the answer is clearly no.
Here's why I think, too, BT, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show, but the reason why I'd be open to a change now, even though I feel like I still haven't gotten a proper evaluation of Joe. Like, I don't think you could evaluate any general manager in just 3 seasons, okay? I don't think that's fair to evaluate. Obviously, what we have seen has been awful, and I still, at my core, believe Daboll could be a head coach and has been in certain aspects. Like, a lot of the Giants' losses early on were competitive losses, but they're all losses. And now you look at it, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse as it's gone on, whether it's losing to the Panthers, getting pasted at home by a Bucs team. Yeah, they're way better. But here's why. The timeline, again, is all convoluted. I begged and pleaded for this team when Schoen and Daboll took over to move on from both Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. They didn't. For whatever reason, they didn't. They had immediate success, and that could be their biggest downfall, because now, if you are to give them another year, it's almost going to feel like they have to take a quarterback. And would you think that that's a good thing to have to take a quarterback?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because do you start reaching at that point?
Well, right,
now, the good news is I don't think they're going to win that. They might win one more game,
so
and the Panthers have the tiebreaker. Patriots probably squeeze out or weasel out one more win. I mean, no matter, Giants probably will be picking first or second.
Okay, well, we don't know how it's going to play. Like, I wouldn't be stunned if they played well on Thanksgiving. Who knows? I need to see it play out, because you're right. Like, weeks ago when you brought up the word, well, I don't anticipate. I'm like,
that was Merritt.
Yeah, right. But I was like, well, he basically gave them the vote of confidence, and that's it. But things have spiraled in the worst of ways here with this team. But if you're forced, and we talked about this, if you feel like you're forced as a regime to take a quarterback, you may reach, and that's not the right thing. And then let's say they do take a quarterback, even if it's not a reach, they take the guy they like. Well, then, so what? They have to have immediate success in year one? Otherwise, they're done. Like, that timeline doesn't add up either. So for me, it's either commit to this group beyond just next season, which sounds ridiculous at this point, but it's either that or just blow it all up and start from scratch with a new GM, a new head coach, and a new quarterback.
I'm already talking to Belichick is what I'm doing. I'm not wasting my time anymore with this. I listen, I mean, there's no more evidence needed. I mean, you think about the way this went from the Panthers game. Now, all right, so the Giants aren't very talented, so you can't, it's not like the Bills lost to the Panthers, and we're like, well,
right.
How the hell did that happen?
Well, I mean, the Chiefs almost lost to them yesterday.
That's true. So the Giants, but the way they lost, and out in Germany, and all right, now you have the bye week, and now we got the Tommy DeVito juice, and we've got the Daniel Jones situation, and some guys off the record, some guys, very respected ones, Dexter Lawrence among them, on the record, talking about the state of the team, full house, finally a sense of, a little buzz around the Giants. Not that they're going to go on some ridiculous run, but for once, like, hey, can we have a little fun here? Can we beat a team, Tampa, that had lost 4 straight games coming in? Let's not get this twisted. Tampa was not playing good football. They had 4 straight losses. They came in, 70 yards down the Giants' throat, and they absolutely boat raced them with not an ounce of resistance. So you tell me, how much do the players respect the coach? How much do the players respect being Giants? How much do the players understand the mission? To me, there's almost nothing identifiable at this point, nothing tangible that I can point to and say, that's the reason I've got to keep these gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry.
The defense should be better. The defense should be better. Like, it's one thing if you lose. It's another thing to get embarrassed, and they can't even score. Like,
they just stink.
Yeah, they can't score. Their defense is awful and overrated. All of them. Burns looks terrible. I mean, the ball hit his foot yesterday.
I know.
He has no awareness that the ball's on the ground. Like, what are you doing?
And think about what they invested. This is on Shane. Yeah. Think about what they invested for that pass rush that we talk about. That's supposed to be their strength. Yeah. Baker Mayfield doing whatever he wanted untouched.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. So the defense, even with one of the best players in the sport as far as Dexter Lawrence goes, but the defense is brutal. The offense can't move the football. Neighbors running his mouth yet again. I mean, this is the type of stuff that gets coaches and regimes changed and fired. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Now, again, it's a very difficult thing because you want to make sure you're patient and you don't just quick trigger and keep changing things. That's not the way. You want to have some kind of patience and continuity for success, but it's not working here. It's getting worse, and because of their timeline. Like, had this team picked a quarterback, not Daniel Jones, I think it'd be a different story. Now that, like, so we're supposed to just give them a new clean slate and have them pick their own quarterback? Like, so if those are your two choices, and I think to me it is, to do it right, it's either stick with this regime that you believe in and let them pick their quarterback, whether it's this year or next year, whenever they find their guy, and then evaluate them, or just blow it all out now and then have everybody on the same page. New GM, new head coach, and go pick a new quarterback.
But here's what's extra damaging and worrisome to me. Now, you know where I stand. I just said I would call Bill Belichick. Now, that's not the most original thought. People have been saying Belichick's name for a while.
I wouldn't go there myself, but we can push that conversation later.
Sure. And by the way, Belichick I'd call. Vrabel I'd call all the top ones, right? Meaning I would make calls because I'm interested in getting in a new regime here. If the owner is not quite yet there, and he really has strong beliefs in Daboll, then I think he's got to come out today and say, hey, this guy's here. He's coaching. Because the team that showed up yesterday, they were not ready to play football. And once the game started, I know. They weren't ready to start the game, and they had no interest in competing as the game progressed. So all I could do is, from my seat, look at that and say, all right, this team has checked out on the coach. And if you have, 6 more weeks of this type of stuff, the few positive, young pieces in that locker room could be destroyed. Which could even...
Sounds like they already are.
Well, some of them. Not all of them. Some of them for sure.
I mean, did you see, not only hear Neighbors, but did you see the look on his face? He's just like...
he's standing there like a 6-year veteran who's, bagging 115 catches a year. Like, what do you want from me? Ain't my fault.
Yeah,
dude, you're a rookie.
The quarterback. Yeah, well,
you're a rookie.
I mean, that's a whole nother...
It's not. It's a whole other thing, but it's not. Because the freedom that he feels to do that, and there were some current concerns. They talked about this where, Daboll spoke to him during the interview, the pre-draft interview, like, hey, if you're not getting the ball early and you're not involved, you okay with this? And he was fairly forthright, and Daboll's like, that's okay. It's a dog. I want that. And I understand what he means, but just the optics yesterday, like, the Buccaneers could have scored 50 points if they want. 50 if they wanted to. The Giants' offense stinks. It's awful. By the way, this is the worst Giants' offense, statistically provable, in 25 years. The worst.
Think about it.
Daboll was an offensive coach.
Phil didn't say it directly last week. Do you remember the question I asked him? After Phil was saying, well, you look, some guys, whatever the system may be, Minnesota, you go there, they're going to score points regardless. And I said, well, you didn't say that about the Giants. And then even his answer to that, he wasn't ripping them, but, I mean, he said it all when he was referencing the different systems that you're going to score points no matter what with these bright offensive minds. That's what the Giants should have. And whether Phil says it or not, we all see it. Like, it's not what the Giants, because they've had multiple quarterbacks. You see Barkley on top of it go to the Eagles and play at an MVP level. The Giants had him, and he didn't come anything close to that. Daniel Jones, now other teams are going to want him. Who knows what's going to happen with him moving forward. But they, with Daniel Jones.
Look at McKinney's season.
Yeah, I
leads
know.
the league in picks.
Look, the Giants have not done anything right this year. Whether it's, look, you could talk about, good rookie class. Nonsense. I'm not seeing it. They haven't had a lead since October.
I know.
A lead in a league where there's parity all over the place.
It's Thanksgiving this week. Think about that.
So for
gross.
me to say, like, I haven't seen enough of Schoen, I believe in Daboll. Here's the point, BT, I think ultimately, and we'll get to the calls here in a second, 888-808-1019. The feel, the energy.
Yep.
It's gotten so bad, and it feels, and I hate to use this word toxic, and that's just my word to describe when things go wrong. I don't know if it's toxic in that locker room or clubhouse or not.
How about broken?
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, look at the guys. They have no answer. What's his name? Burns is saying we played like ass or whatever it may be.
I know.
You got Neighbors ripping the coach, saying it's not me, it's not the quarterback, it's not the quarterback. What do you want me to tell you? I don't know anything, but it's not the quarterback. I don't know the play call. Like, all these guys are questioning everything here. They're getting ripped at home. They're getting mocked by Baker Mayfield. Like, they've changed quarterbacks. I don't know how it could get any worse.
The only way it could get worse is you have 25,000 empty seats.
Well, that's coming.
One of the final home games. Yep.
I mean,
that's the final nail when that happens.
BT,
it's really It's broken.
BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. John is in South Plainfield. What's up, John?
Hey, how are you? You guys are 100% right about the team is just lost now. I'm a season ticket holder for 35 years. I get to the game at the normal time I get there. The parking lot was half full of what it usually is. The first third down that Tampa Bay had, the crowd was dead. I think there was 15 to 20,000 empty seats yesterday. And once again, I get to leave early because I just can't sit and watch it any longer. I don't know what the answer is. It's been too long. It was just an embarrassing.
Well, John, let me ask you, John, I have a question for you. And I listen, I appreciate when you say you don't have an answer. I'm not even sure that we have the absolute answer. But the question that I have for you is, do you believe that this coaching staff can get it fixed? You believe in Daboll?
You know, I did. And now after a performance like this, you know, I still want to believe in him because I think he has what it takes as a coach. But again, I don't think the players yesterday, I mean, you know, we talk about the offense and how the offense has been so bad. The defense was just as bad as the offense yesterday and couldn't stop anything.
Yeah, and that can't be the case. And thank you for the call, John. I agree with what you're saying. Like, a part of me still believes in Daboll as a coach. However, we're at a point now, and with their timeline, the easy and maybe ultimately right thing to do is just start over again. Blow it up, start over again. Like, how you either have to commit to this regime long-term, meaning beyond just next year. There's no way, BT, for me, that it could be, all right, well, here we go. We're going to let this play out 1 year, and then what? And take your quarterback and expect what? With a young quarterback?
And then if it doesn't go well, which it won't, because then you fire him and you have somebody else come in who didn't draft the kid?
Yeah, no, you
can't do that.
That's exactly right. So I don't want that. So if I don't want that, then it's either keep this team, this regime beyond just next year, or make the change now. And the way things have gone here, like, how could you, even if you believe in them to a certain extent, just go find somebody else. Like, you're going to tell me Brian Daboll's going to be a better coach than Mike Vrabel, whoever you want to throw that's out there. You can't.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not prepared to do that. I think that Vrabel will be a home run. I think Belichick would be better. Just not many names. I don't think it's fairly thin out there with the coaching ranks. But but when I first laid eyes on Daboll, I don't mean when they show him up the booth with the Bills. I mean as the Giants coach. There were two things based on his resume and how he projects, right? There were two things I expected. Number one, an innovative, high-flying offense. It's the worst Giants offense in 25 years, number one. Number two, I expected a fiery guy who would command the room, and that would residually lead to playing with purpose, playing with poise, playing with passion. Doesn't even look like they want to play. So to me, it's 0 for 2.
You know, I think you might have been right about last year where I was overlooking some of the damage potentially that was done with the stuff with Wink. And I do think it was Wink's fault. But sometimes those things, like, they're just not. They're not playing for him. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
They're not. And then he took over the reins of the play calling, and it's gotten worse. I mean, that's indisputable.
Good God, it's infuriating. Angelo's in Ozone Park. What's up, Angelo?
Yes, how you doing? I finally got through to you guys.
All right. Thanks for calling, Angelo. What's up?
Buddy.
Well, I listened to everything you said, and you finally are saying things that I've been saying for the last 2 years. This GM and this head coach and the complete coaching staff has to go. Hire Belichick. This guy can't make adjustments. He's the worst offensive coordinator since the one with a Judge. And he was never coach of the year. They were lucky to win 5 games that year. So what has he done?
5 games. I don't mean to cut you off. To be fair, you know, we don't want to just pound on Daboll here unnecessarily and make stuff up. Like, you are what your record says, and his first year was good.
Yeah, I still don't think he's a bad head coach. I just think this situation has gotten away from him. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it.
I know.
Like, I still, at my core, there are things like our first call reference that I still believe he's the guy and a good head coach, but it's just the actions aren't backing it up. And it's not just, well, look at the quarterback. Well, you saw what happened with a quarterback change, and I'm not even blaming DeVito yesterday. I mean, he wasn't very good, but the Giants just got dismantled in every facet of the game. That can't happen. On top of losing to the Panthers, on top of not winning one of the Commanders games or one of the close games that they were like, it just can't happen. And we talk about the disparity from a big picture thing, like, okay, even if they're competitive in some of these games, the disparity between the Eagles and where the Giants are. You saw the disparity between where the Bucks, a team with 4 wins coming in yesterday, and the Giants are, and it's massive.
A Bucks team who had lost 4 straight. I mean, it bears repeating there. I mean, oh God, I look at Daboll, and there were a lot of people, and I understood this because I went back and forth a little bit as well, where you just felt like. This guy feels like the guy. He looks like the guy. The early results kind of, underscored that he's the guy. And granted, maybe I bailed a little bit earlier than some, right? But if you are still, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I mean, I'm certainly not trying to get people fired. I wish it would work out with Daboll and Schoen. I really do. It doesn't look like it is. But if you are still pro Daboll and Schoen, like adamantly pro, to me, you're latching on to hope and nothing that they've actually done. Because the offense is not good, the defense is getting worse. There's been a very scattered draft board, and the morale and the chemistry and the respect is waning. So what exactly are they doing well? I would like the answer.
You can't do it anymore. As somebody who was doing it, and one of the reasons is I want some continuity here. Like, it's not always the right answer to just keep changing, especially if you hired people that you truly believe in. And we did see them have some success in year one. However, it's gotten so bad that even if you believe, like I do, in Daboll to a certain extent, like, what's the harm in trying to do it over again with a brand new, fresh, clean slate, which it feels like they need that in that building, and getting a new quarterback. Like, unfortunately for them, they didn't get the new quarterback 2 years ago when I said they should have. It would have been better to get the quarterback then, regardless of who it was. Get rid of Daniel Jones, and maybe you don't win that first year, and you start to build up a little bit, as opposed to win that first year with Jones, then double down on Jones and have him for 3 years fail, and the team along with it getting worse and worse each step of the way.
They've made a lot of mistakes that have compounded other mistakes that have just made it worse and worse. Listen, you can watch the games, you could read the articles, you could listen to us on the station. To me, listen, I lean on my eyes and I lean on my ears. And yesterday, my son had his best buddy's birthday party. It was big, like Super Bowl out at the park. It was great, right? And there was a lot of parents and a lot of Giant fans. When I said, I know them all from town, coach, baseball, everything, right? When I tell you that basically all of them were like, I don't even want to watch the Vito. I don't even care about this game. Like, the apathy, and I'm talking about 30, 40, 45 adults who are true blue forever. They don't even want to watch the games.
BT and Sal on the Fan will come back. More of your calls. Get in on the action.